Okay, hi guys. I really hope you can hear me. I've got the washing machine on, so I probably timed this at the worst possible timing ever. But I guess I wanted to do a bit of an update because it's been a while since I've posted regularly. I feel like I've been trying, but it's been a bit sporadic, and I guess, sorry, the washing machine. I guess, mention a few times that things weren't going well personally and stuff like that. So this is a video just to kind of briefly explain the situation. You might realise I'm in a completely different background, and that's because I moved. But there's more to the story than that. So, you know, it's all very personal. I know I share my life on the internet, so I felt like I wanted to kind of do this video just before I get into the swing of things. I don't know how long it's going to take because I'm adjusting. I'm living a bit differently now, so I don't know how regularly YouTube will be for me, and I don't know if it's something that I will continue to do. I really hope I continue to do it, but I don't know at the minute. But so yeah, I thought let's just start with this video. So basically, throwing it right back, I don't know when this is going up, but basically a couple of months ago my mum passed away. I don't want to go into too much depth just out of respect for the whole situation, and just because it's, you know, my personal life. Yeah, my mum passed away. We basically found out about her being ill within like a couple of weeks to a month before she actually died. It was just, you know, the big C, the big killer, cancer, of course, gets everybody, doesn't it? And yeah, it was sorry, it was a very rapid, kind of crazy situation. Do you know what? I'm going to take you into the bedroom just because it's way too loud in here. Bear with me. Okay, so hopefully that's a bit better. Completely forgot that I was still sorting stuff out in this room, so I've got clothes and a load of random stuff just thrown over the bed, and I am in a darker spot, but hopefully it's a little bit quieter. So basically, yeah, that was the situation. It was just me and Mum that lived at home. I was in that house since, you know, the day I was born, since I left the hospital and went to live there. So I'm 23 this year, so nearly 23 years that I've lived in that house. I've never lived anywhere else. I haven't known anything different. And so we kind of knew that due to like the legality of it, we was renting a council house. I knew that eventually, you know, after Mum's passing, I would have to technically downsize. I would have to do a thing called succeed into the tenancy, and then downsize, because I was living in a 3-bedroom house at that point on my own, and so I was over occupying, which is a term meant to say that you've got too many bedrooms for one person. They kind of need those houses for families and stuff like that. So I had to kind of get into my head pretty soon that, okay, I'm going to be leaving my childhood home, the only home I've known, whilst I'm grieving, whilst I'm going through this complete change in my life, and it's going to be difficult. So I started packing as soon as Mum went into hospital. Basically, I was packing up stuff, but at that point I didn't realise how much I'd have to get away, like give away and chuck and stuff like that. And only in the last couple of days leading up to the point of me leaving, I was just getting rid of things, thinking, okay, I don't need that, and it's difficult because at that point everything has a sentimental value. You know, you've lived in that place for your whole life. A lot of the things has the feeling of my mother, you know, around that area, and it's just very difficult. So that was bloody hell. That was that. Obviously, before all that happened, we had, you know, the funeral and everything. The funeral went amazing. I really don't want to talk too much about the actual passing of my mum and all that. I'm not ready for that. I don't really think it's appropriate at the minute to put up here. So I'm just going to talk about the other sort of stuff. But yeah, so obviously I had to go through all the grieving process and things like that. I had to, you know, sort the funeral out. I had so many supportive friends and family. Like, my mum was so well loved, and it really showed, specifically on that funeral day, but even after, with everybody helping me. You know, I'm not my mum. I was joined to her hip. Everybody knew us as a duo sort of thing. So it was really heartwarming to see everybody still coming through, helping me, even after Mum had passed, and they wanted to see me do well and stuff like that. So a lot of the move, I had so much help, you know, from all these people, all these friends and families. It's so lovely to feel that, you know. So I definitely thank my mum for that, for, you know, being that good person that people wanted to help and wanted to extend that help to her children, and also teaching me those values of being a good person, you know. So yeah, after all the funeral and everything like that, I had to kind of knuckle down a bit more and think about career-wise and stuff. I was working at the same place which I adored. Well, I had recently swapped over to the education side of things, so I was taking children around school trips around farm and teaching them the working farm, daily life of a farmer sort of thing, how to grow things, different things about the animals, life cycle, stuff like that, like depending on, you know, what they were learning, their age group, what they were learning at school, sorry. And just, it was great, but the hours were, it was a 0 hour based contract, and it was more like term based, so obviously it being natured around school trips, they were only work available when school terms were on. So obviously during the 6 weeks and everything there'd be nothing, but because I was living at home at the time and I recently had started it in January, I didn't know, my mum was ill in January, I didn't know what was gonna befall us all. I thought that's fine, I'm living at home. I was quite, I don't know, spoiled, blessed, I don't know, my mum never wanted any keep. Obviously I would buy things like food shopping and stuff like that, but she never asked for like a regular rent or anything like that, so I had a lot of spare money. I saved a lot, to be fair, as well. But I had stuff that, you know, I could treat myself, buy random stuff, buy mum random stuff, bits and bobs. But I knew obviously that would have to change and I'd have to find a full-time job, which I was looking for anyway. And it just happened far sooner than I expected. Obviously I loved the job I was at, but the hours just weren't enough to live off of. And then I ended up getting into, well, I got an interview when my mum was very, very ill. She actually passed away, and a couple of days later I had the interview, but I thought it's one of those tricky things, like I know I need to do this for in the long run, because if I jack up this interview and just don't go, what am I going to do money wise, what am I going to do with my life? I told my mum about it before she passed, obviously, that I had an interview lined up, and she was well happy. I just wish she was able to hang on that a bit longer to see that I got it, I got the job. I'm sure she knows. I don't know, I'm a very spiritual person. I wouldn't say I believe in a God specifically or religious or anything like that, but I'm hoping she, like, her energy or something is there with me. I hope she would be proud of me. But I managed to get that job. It's actually in veterinary nursing. I'm a veterinary nurse assistant now. Very, very difficult to learn all of this new job. So my mum passed away, I was having to think about moving, starting my new job, and the way it fell, basically, I know this video is all over the place, sorry, but basically I could have had the option of having 6 months grievance, but that would have taken me up to around Christmas time, and I knew it would be far difficult, obviously, weather-wise, getting boxes to and from. People would be less available, spending time with their family and friends, and like delivery people probably have the Christmas break off. I just knew it was going to be difficult, like days would get darker quicker, and it just would make things more difficult. So I just said, you know what, no, just start looking now for a downsizing place. So yeah, they found me a 1-bedroom flat quite close to where I was living, so it's not too far. I'm familiar with the area, and yeah, so it actually fell that the first week that I started my new job, I had to move. I got a letter basically saying that I needed to move, but it was just a guideline, so it wasn't until the week later that I had to move. And last night was my first night in this this flat. We've got a lot of the furniture in and everything. I've just got to start getting boxes out of storage because I've got bits and bobs at different people's houses and stuff. And yeah, so I mean, yeah, it's been a crazy road. That's why I've been a bit absent on social media. My reading game hasn't been that strong, understandably. But I'm hoping to get back on track. Hopefully now that I'm not running back and forth as much, I can spend my evenings after work reading, slowly putting the flat together, trying to make it homely, stuff like that. You know, oh, I don't know if some of you know, I've got a cat that I've only had for a few months as well, called Elsa. She was very stressed out during the move. Not during the actual process, because most of it happened in one day, but she knew something was happening because obviously I was packing a load of boxes and she was excited, like finding all these things to jump in and out of. You know, the cats thing, if I fits, I sits. But then the actual day where it was like, right, we're finally going back to the house for the last time to collect Elsa, to collect all the last little bits that we can carry in that, put her in the cat cage, to a cat carrier to carry her in. She was crying. It started to get really windy, and she was just crying and meowing and that, so I had to sit with her on my lap, obviously, in the car, stroking her, like she knew I was there, so she kept nuzzling against my like hand in the cage, and she sort of settled down, laid down, got a bit relaxed. She knew I was there. I think the wind was freaking her out. She's an indoor cat. So yeah, but then we got her in. Once everybody had finished being in the house, I had to keep her in the bedroom for a little bit. put her food and litter and everything in there, of course, but I just wanted to keep her safe, isolated a little bit out of the way because of the doors opening and closing, all these different people. She's very social, but it was an overwhelming experience for me, so understandably it'd be even more overwhelming for a cat that, you know, can't comprehend all these different things. An animal can't comprehend why this is happening, what's going on, just a blur of movement, isn't it, really? Once everything settled down for that night, which was last night, opened all the like room doors, let her have a wander. She's proper chilled, you know, she's finding the places. I pointed her towards the litter, towards her food, she knows where to go to do those things, and she's really chilled out. Obviously I've had to been running around today and, you know, throughout the rest of the time that I'm settling in, and she's just been really chilled about it, really relaxed. And yeah, so obviously I just want to say thank you to everyone that's supported me on social media, reached out to me and stuff, like my friends and family. So much of them, so many of them have been able to let me live here. Like you might see that really cool pattern, like close family friends painted the walls for me, they did that for me, they did like laid the carpet, they've done so much for me, you know. And it's just, I don't know how I would have done it on my own. Like my boyfriend's been amazing, his family have really like looked after me and that, you know, all my family, people in London and stuff that I hadn't really talked to in ages, that were mainly like the connection was my mum. They've all just come down, looking after me, helping me any way they can. Everybody has really like just been there for me, and I just, it's amazing really. It's just such a nice feeling to know that you can count on other people when you really do need help, and it's not something to be ashamed of or anything like that. So yeah, that, I mean, I probably missed out a lot of information, but I don't want to go into too much depth. But that's where I'm at now. A couple of weeks into the new job, first day, couple of days in the flat, I think the grieving process is finally going to kick in, and I'm probably going to be sobbing like a baby every day until I can feel that a little bit better. But it's obviously been pushed off and off because I've been kept busy, and I've had to think logically of other things and how I'm going to live and survive and stuff like that. So I've just not had much time to think about my mum. Not to think about my mum, sorry, that sounds bad, let me reword that. To think about the loss of my mum. I think about my mum all the time, I dream about her, but I haven't had time to properly process that she's gone. And yeah, so now's going to be that horrible time where, especially the time when I'm alone, that is going to hit me. But I'll get through this. I know she'll want the best for me and everything, so yeah, I'm going to go. Thank you so much for watching. I'll hopefully speak to you in another video soon. Bye.